Okay, guys, I just wanted to do a follow-up on the fuel lines. Go over a couple things that I missed in my previous video here earlier today. I just wanted to show you guys my scrap pile. As you can see, there's a lot of just a lot of waste there. Now, I actually went through 25 feet of each line, the 3/8 and the 5/16. And then I went out and bought another 25-foot section of 5/16, which I've got some left over here if I need it. The 3/8, I was able to get it down to about, I don't know, here on the car. Then I was able to find a 3/8 section, a 60-inch 3/8 section that I was able to get me here to here. So I didn't have to buy a whole nother 25 feet of that. As far as some of the tools that I used, this is a, let's see, what is it? There you go. This is what I use to do my 37-degree flares for my tubing. It's got the 5/16, it's got the 3/8. Pretty easy to use. It was kind of expensive. I bought it about a year ago. I think I got it at Home Depot. It was like $127, but I figured I'd be doing a lot of flaring and stuff, and it really came in handy today, so I just wanted to show you that. This is the tool that I used to try and bend some of my tubing. Now, it's got a channel for the 3/8, 5/16, and I believe a quarter. Now, it does work pretty good. Let me get it like this. So you basically just put your line in there. Just put your line right in there, and then you bring this down and then pull it to whatever degrees. It's got degrees on it. There you go. Some people say, hey, put it in a vise and, try it that way. You can, handle a little bit better. When you're underneath the car, it's kind of hard to do. Now, I don't know if you can see, but when you go to bend, if you're not careful, this handle will actually pull up like that. See how I'm putting pressure on it? And I think that might have caused some of my kinking issues and, just kind of some of the deformities I was coming up with. Ideally, it should be like that when it's going up and down this scale. So I don't know if you put, a pair of vice grips or do something, but, if you had two people, you could probably make this work. I mean, it is effective. It's, Harbor Freight, $10, $12 special, whatever. It did come in handy, so it's up to you. Obviously, I got my Harbor Freight pipe cutter. It's got the little tool in here that pops out, triangle, goes inside. It goes inside of your tubing. You're able to clean that out. What I did on my tubing is, let me get a piece here. So on my tubing, once you pull this triangle out, you can kind of clean the inside of it out. I also got a file and kind of filed the outside, and then I filed the inside here and made sure it was all good. And then, of course, I flared it out, came out with a nice 37-degree flare. This is one of my sacrificial tubes here. But you can see it's real nice. And then once it's done, I felt it, any rough spots, I just kind of would file it down. Now, as I went through each section of this, I got my my air compressor going, and I made sure I blew it out both ways to try to get any residue, any metal, anything like that that was in there. I wanted that out of the line, so it obviously didn't get, when I fire this up, I don't have any metal being burnt. Here's a nice little tool too I got at Harbor Freight, really inexpensive. This was really good in some tight spots. Once I got up underneath there and was trying to mate up the lines, this came in handy. Now, as far as my insulated clamps, this is what I am. Once again, Harbor Freight special. This was like $5.99. It's got some 3/8. It's got some, here you go, you can see it's got some 5/16 and stuff like that. You can get the insulated clamps at Ace Hardware, someplace like that, really inexpensive too. I think I went through probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 of the 3/8, so I've actually got 2 of these kits. I went through most of the 5/8. As far as screwing these clamps in, I went with the self-tapping screws. This is the size I went, number 10 by 5/8. seem to work, self-tapping, a little brute force, you can get them in there. So also when I put these clamps in, I made sure to put them where my seat pans are. So like my seat pans are right here. So when I put those insulated clamps on, screwed them up from the bottom of the car, those are actually underneath the seat pan so you can't see them. And then I put a couple clamps here that are back by the torque boxes back behind the back seat, so those aren't actually coming up so you won't stub your foot on them. Also, when you're putting those clamps up there, put a little sealant or something on there. That way, once you drill them up there, you can seal that hole nice and tight and keep water out of your car. Personally, this car's not going to see water unless I hit a pool. It's not going to be out in the rain. It'll be hand washed, stuff like that. So I'm not too concerned about it. But other than that, I really don't think there's anything else I need to tell you as far as the fuel lines go. It took me a few weekends to do. I worked at it, a couple hours here and there. I basically got the back all done, and then just kind of brought all my tubing into the middle where I was going to join it, and then I basically went over here and I got the front basically made, all done, and then I brought that back, tacked it all down, and then I got underneath the car and made my connections. I found that was going to be easier to do just because you're able to move the tubes a little bit better, get in there, cut them, flare them, blow them out and hook them all up. I found it was easiest for me. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video or follow-up video to the hard lines on the 65 Mustang.